Conestoga Conversations Indigenous Edition. In this series, every conversation with student recruiters will be exploring the programs, pathways, and clusters at Conestoga College. From a one-year college certificate to a four-year honors degree, Conestoga has multiple ways to help you reach your goals. In today's conversation, we'll be talking about the power engineering programs at our Toyota Power Engineering Center at our Doon-Kitchener campus.
Some of you may be wondering, what does a student recruiter do? We're specialists in helping future prospective students by providing reliable information about programs and services, answering any Conestoga-related question on a one-to-one basis and within group settings, leading you on virtual tours, and once we're back to normal, touring through our 8 campus locations. Conestoga student recruiters work with Indigenous students, students interested in degrees, trades and apprenticeships, and the general population.
My name is Roxane Shawana. I'm the Indigenous recruiter at Conestoga College, and I'm from Wakumekong unceded territory on beautiful Manitoulin Island.
And my name is Elisha Rivard, and I work with the general population at Conestoga College, and I have a background in career development. We are very, very excited to be welcoming Tannis Gayler, program administrator for the workforce development. Tannis, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Tannis Gayler. I'm a program administrator in the School of Workforce Development, and in my portfolio is the power engineering programs. I'm very passionate about power engineering because my dad was a power engineer, my 4 uncles were power engineers, and my daughter is a power engineer. My daughter actually is the first female graduate from the power engineering program at Conestoga College. So power engineering runs through our family. So I am not just the administrator for it, which does all the background work for the program. I'm also the work placement coordinator for the program, because this program actually has a 3-month work placement, which is very exciting because it gives you really hands-on experience right in the middle of your program.
Wow, thanks, Tannis. That's awesome. I didn't realize that about you. That's a lot of awesome information. You're going to be great at this. So Tannis is actually going to be talking to us today about a power engineering program, like Roxane said, at our Toyota Power Engineering Center at the Doon-Kitchener campus. Tannis, with all the knowledge and expertise, especially since a lot of people in your family are power engineers, we would love to have you explain to our audience more information about the 4th class and 3rd class power engineering, what it entails, and just some careers that students will receive when they complete these programs.
Sounds good. So the first thing I'm going to cover is, because everybody always comes to me if they are looking at this career and they're kind of confused. They're like, what is a power engineer? So good question, because people think that you're dealing with hydro and more with power, but that is sort of what power engineering is, but not really. Power engineering is a skilled and certified profession because the TSSA, which is the Technical Standards and Safety Association, is the governing body of power engineers, and they consider all power engineers to be professionals, just like professional engineers. So, and for these power engineers are responsible for the operation, maintenance, renovation, repair of boiler systems, which we're going to see pictures of boilers after if you have never seen a boiler system, and other mechanical systems in facilities. Power engineers work in a wide variety of industries and commercial facilities, and they ensure that all the equipment and processes operate safely and efficiently. So every building that you go in usually has, large building, has power engineering engineers that are making that building run efficiently, and so nothing shuts down. So what kind of industries? That's another one everybody asks me, like, what can I do? Well, power engineers are employed in schools, and that can be like a high school, because most large high schools have small boiler rooms in the basement that does your cooling and heating and keeps the students warm throughout their academic careers. Universities all have large boiler rooms to keep the facility running. Hospitals, hotels, apartment buildings, shopping malls, generation stations and plants, mines, steel mills, like it's endless. Pulp and paper manufacturing, food production plants, and Toyota, which our building is named after, has extremely large power plants that power engineers operate out of. And Toyota actually donated money to us to start our program because there's such a shortage of power engineers. So that should tell you how viable of a career it is when a big industry supporter in our area donates a large sum of money to support a program because they know there's a shortage of power engineers in Ontario.
It's interesting. Did you want me to move on, Tannis?
Yeah, do you want me, sorry, do you want me to keep going? It's kind of wacky. Anyway, sorry. So do you want me to, fourth class power engineering? Sorry, guys. So power engineering is a ticketed profession. So you have to become a fourth class engineer first before you can move on to a third class engineer, a second class engineer, and then a first class engineer. So it's a little confusing for people because it's reverse. Most people would think it'd go 1 to 4, but it goes 4 to 1. So you must be a fully licensed fourth class engineer before you can go on to become a third. So how it works at Conestoga College and in industry is you would take the fourth class program at Conestoga College, which entails the first semester would be in school. Your second semester is a full placement. You have to do 480 hours of placement hours to qualify for a fourth class ticket. And then your third semester is back in school. So throughout the time, as I mentioned previously, the TSSA is the governing body of power engineers. We encourage students to write their exams. So you have to write exams with TSSA as part of that licensing process. So you can pass your schooling and your work placement, but if you don't pass your exams through TSSA, you're not a licensed power engineer yet. So you have to pass the 2 TSSA exams and the schooling and work placement component to become a fourth class engineer. Once you have done that, you can move on to your third class engineer. So we offer that also. We try and run them back to back. So once you finish your fourth class, you can start the next September if you've passed your fourth class exams with the governing body into the third class program. So the third class program works almost identical, except that you're in school first semester, in school second semester, and then the third semester, you only need to do 180 hours of placement hours to be able to get your third class ticket. Or you have to write 4 exams as a third class to become a third class power engineer. And again, that's with the governing body, TSSA. So we really support, I'm going to go back to the fourth class and the third class about the work placements, because that's always a concern for students when they come in, because it's very stressful. They're thinking, do I have to find this placement myself? And as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm the work placement coordinator, and I work with students to place them in industries that they feel comfortable in. We have many students that cannot work in slaughterhouses per se, which we have a lot of placements that are in slaughterhouses, so that if they can't do it for religious reasons, and so we place them where they deem would be a good spot for them. Now, with that said, there's not just placements falling out of the sky or whatever, and we always encourage and tell students that you could be placed anywhere in Ontario. So really look at the geographic region of Ontario, which is monstrous. You could go from Thunder Bay. I've had students and placements in Thunder Bay all the way to Cornwall. So if you have family members and you want to try some different experiences, you say, hey, can I stay with you for 1 semester? Because you would have better opportunities as a student if you're willing to travel, and you'll have better experiences, to tell you honest truth, because there's not a lot of local placements. So.
Oh, that's good to know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do they have, like, do they give you kind of priorities or where they would like to be placed, or is it really like you place them?
No, as I said, I work in conjunction with the student to really find out what geographical regions they can go to, what sort of plant they are interested in going to, and then I work with with the plants. So I reach out to the plants. I make the arrangements for students to go to interviews. We set up the interview process for them. So I facilitate all that, and then I advise the student. And it is like a job interview. It's not like you're just like getting placed there. You have to interview with the chief of the plant and usually HR, because they want to make sure the student's a good fit within their facility also. So I always tell that to students. Also, present yourself well. You have to have a professional resume also, because I send that off to the chiefs to review. But it is like finding a job, but I'm helping them along very closely.
Yes, that's the key point, is that we do provide support at the college. We're not expecting you to go and do this on your own. Now, I imagine, Tannis, when people are looking at placements, they're looking at maybe where they want to be ending up in their career as well.
That is, Roxane, that's an excellent point, because we've had many students do their placements and they've stayed on. The companies have hired them. So that's, you want to do a great job anyway, but you also, it's a way for the companies to test you out also to see if they want to hire you. So we always say that to the students, like, present yourself well. Plus, they're also presenting the college. So, you know, you have to be professional and everything, but you could just stay there and keep working for the rest of your career if you wanted to.
Nice. That's what we like to hear, is students getting jobs out of our programs.
Yeah, so I'm very happy. I'm happy to say, even with the pandemic, we had 100%, and we've always had 100% placement rate. So we've never not been able to place a student. I'm very proud to say that. So
nice.
Yeah.
So Tannis, you already covered a lot of the aspects of the third class, but could you talk a little bit about what maybe what some of that, like more what they'd be learning about in third class?
But it's once you move to the third class, it's just a higher level and a higher degree of what you can be working on. So with the fourth class, you're at the entry level. So you won't be working on as many equipments. You'd be working under more seasoned power engineers, where when you're getting to the third class, you would be working, once you're licensed, on a lot of the equipment yourself, because your knowledge level is just so much higher. So we're teaching the more advanced. So if you're doing thermodynamics, you'd be at the higher level of thermodynamics. They teach you even more about the boilers. So, and then it goes on to the second also, where, you know, you'd just be at the next higher level, where they're teaching at a higher level of what of the equipment you'll be working on.
No, Tannis, I'm just curious for this, because I know in the fourth class it's 480 hours for the field placement. In the third class it's 180. Does that get less and less as they go into the second and fourth class too, or do they have to have more hours when they get closer to fourth class?
No, it gets less and less. Actually, second class, most people just take their exams while they're working. Very few people go to school for second class, because usually you're gainfully employed as a third class. You're making very good money, and who wants to leave when you're making good money, when you can study and work at the same time? So there actually is no placement hours for the second class. And the first class, you have to be working in industry for a certain amount of time before you can even become a licensed first class. Most first class engineers have been working minimum 10 years in industry before they become first class engineers.
Oh, wow.
Our coordinator, who's a PEng and a first class engineer, he just amazes me, because he went through all the progressions within about 5 years, which is an anomaly. Like, that's unheard of, but he's brilliant. So and the students will be learning under him, which will be amazing.
And here we have some, actually, you want to talk about this a little, right?
Yes, because most people, like I said before, go, what is a boiler? Now, this is like a boiler system. This would be in a very large facility. in, say, downtown Toronto, where that would be manning, say, 200 buildings in downtown Toronto. So this would be one of the biggest facilities you'd see for boilers in the plants. But that gives an idea of what kind of equipment you'll be working on. So not just the boilers themselves, you'd be working on some of the piping that leads to the boilers, the mechanics of it. So that's a really good picture of what a power engineer would be working on. Looks daunting, but it's not.
Thank you so much, Tannis. If you would like to connect with Tannis and ask her some more questions about power engineering, here's her contact information. We'll make sure it's on all the links as well. And if you would like to connect with either Elisha or myself about any of the programming available at Conestoga College, or you just want to maybe an intro into power engineering, we can certainly connect with you too. You can set up a Zoom conversation, you can text ourselves, or you can shoot us an email, whatever is your preferred method of communication. Until next time, Bama P.